What's up? Welcome to the Inner Dialogue podcast. Inner Dialogue is a space unveiled from filters and sitting in vulnerability. It's your inner thoughts and the inner conversation you have with your inner self. My goal is never perfection, but starting and growing as I go. My name is Alyssa Deloach, and welcome to Inner Dialogue. So we're growing as we go. And as I was reflecting on episode 2, which was kind of a hot mess, and me just sitting in vulnerability and my uncomfortability with wanting to move to courage and knowing that I can move to courage, but having to sit in that uncomfortability to get there, I realized that I want to come into episode 3 with a topic. And I think that would help guide me and help allow me to fill the space that I want to fill in this podcast. So our topic for today is why careers? Why the fuck do we have careers? And I was sitting on this for a minute because I have a lot of thoughts and opinions about jobs and careers and for what it's looked like inside of my life and my world and what I want it to look like for our future world. So I started to just Google some things and questions about careers to learn more and to get a better idea of how careers became a thing and why we have careers. So I Googled, why do I need a career? And you know how Google will pop up just a generated answer at the top of the page, and then there will be research articles. Maybe not research articles, but people's opinions. There will be articles for you to read. But the answer that Google said originally was it provides direction and purpose. I like the idea of that, right? Having a career gives you direction as a human being, and it can, for some people, give you purpose, right? When you think about a career, oftentimes we think about these big, like headline career jobs, right? Like doctor, lawyer, nurse, teacher. Trying to think what other ones pop into my mind right away. But it provides direction and purpose to a person's life. But I don't think that's what careers do for us now in society and as people. Yeah, I think they can provide some direction, but I think a lot of people's careers actually suck the purpose out of them rather than gain purpose. There are so many people that I know in this world that their job is not what they want to be doing. Their job is the last thing that they want to be doing. But because we live in a capitalistic world, we have to have a career so that we can survive and have money to pay for our basic needs, which oftentimes even that money is not enough to pay for our basic needs as human beings. The rest of the answer of what Google said to why do I need a career continued to say, we do our best when there are people counting on us. We need to feel like our actions are making a difference in the world. Work provides direction and purpose in our lives. With fulfilling work, we know there is a community of people who are counting on us. Now that's the answer that makes sense, right? A career is, we have a career, we need a career because we do best when we know that there are people counting on us. I believe that that's true as well, right? Like we want to do our best because we know that there are people in our world who need us and are counting on us to be our best. But a career does not always show us who we are and the best version of ourselves. I think careers oftentimes bring out that competitive piece of us that actually brings out a lot of people's worst because we're trying to push ourselves ahead so that we can get paid more, have better benefits, be in a better position for ourselves and in our lives. We need to feel like our actions are making a difference in the world. If all careers actually led to our actions making a difference in our world would be a much better place. a much better place. And that's not the case, right? We create these jobs and careers out of thin air because we need jobs for people. And we put people on these career paths because it's what can make them enough money to sustain their lives. When I was a kid, I was lost when it came to what I wanted to do, right? At first, when I was really young, I wanted to be a vet because I loved animals. And then I kept being told throughout my young years and my early life that I would make a really good teacher or a really good nurse. I have a stomach for really gross things. I had a parasite removed from my leg in the 8th grade after a mission trip to Nicaragua. And it lived off my body for 3 months, and then it had to be removed. It was called a botfly. You can't get them in America. They don't exist. In North America, I should say. And my dermatologist told me that through his 25-year career at this point, that he had only seen 6 in his life, and that the grown men that had been in there had passed out. And I was just fascinated and watched it. Because I have a fascination for life, right? That doesn't mean that I want to be in the nursing field and help people that way. It just means that I have a stomach for kind of gross things. But I always was told that I was meant to do or be in a line of work where I was helping people. Hospitality, teaching, nursing, something where I got to help other human beings. And I agree. I always have had this desire that I am meant to help people. I am meant to help humans in some form or fashion, but those couple lines of work, that career path never felt good to me. Fast forward to this time last year, I was still a teacher. I taught for 2 years inside of a 5th grade classroom, and I cried more than I've ever cried in my life within those 2-year period. My first year of teaching, I cried almost every day. I was miserable. I was so unhappy. When you take kids out of school, the kids were fantastic. When you put them into the school and classroom setting that I was in, it was horrible and miserable and nothing that I wanted. The idea of teaching kids appeals to me, right? Like before that, I worked for a nonprofit where I got to help girls, inspire girls to be strong, smart, and bold. That was amazing, right? If the politics of the nonprofit didn't exist, I would probably have stayed in that line of work for longer, but I didn't like the way that I was treated. Going back to, we need to feel like our actions are making a difference in this world. Not all careers make a difference in this world. And so many careers create this environment where we're in competition. Well, you have to do better than your peers so that you can make more money or get promoted. I have a lot of friends that have ended up in career lines of things that they don't enjoy, but it pays a lot of money, so they're doing it. To me, fuck that. I'm never going to enter a line of work just for the money. I refuse to give up my joy for that. I refuse. With fulfilling work, we know there is a community of people who are counting on us. So this answer as a whole I really like. But I just don't think it is an accurate depiction of what careers are in our society and what careers could be and should be in our society. I have this vision for our world in 9 years of giving people the space and the time to do the things that they love and to pay them to do them. Giving people the space to find what brings them joy and to find a way for it to service their community, right? That concept with fulfilling work, we know that there is a community of people counting on us. Do something that brings you joy and you will change the lives of people around you. Our souls have something that they love, many things that they love. And when we don't allow our souls and ourselves to do the things that we love, we end up in this mental health crisis. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And I believe that there's a better way. And I believe that we can move to a better way and give people the time and the space to find things that they love. I have a person in my life right now who is in a toxic work environment and they want to leave it, but it's hard because they don't know what they would do next. They're in their 60s, and the idea of changing careers, changing this path that they have been paving for themselves for decades, and saying, I'm going to do something new because I know that there is more joy to be had than what I am experiencing on a daily basis with the toxicity that I sit in every day. But that fear of I don't know what's next, or the fear of not having the space or the resources or the time or the money to figure it out. If people didn't have to fear money and they just knew that whatever they turned to next was still going to be able to pay them and sustain them in life, people would come up with the coolest shit. People would come up with the coolest shit. And we would have people, like, all of our brains work in different ways. All of our brains love different things and are attracted to different things. I don't have the desire to sit and research for hours and hours and hours, but I know people who do. There isn't the opportunity for people to actually love what they're doing day in and day out. And I also think our career should not be our whole world. I grew up in the generation where it was, here's your life plan. You're going to go to school. You're going to graduate high school. You're going to go to college. You're going to get a degree. Then you're going to go get a full-time job. You're going to work salaried. You're going to have benefits. Your life is going to be good. You're going to find a partner. You're going to get married. You're going to buy a house. You're going to have kids. That was the life path that was planted. And I went to college undecided. I walked in and declared my major as undecided my freshman year. I took career classes. I talked to career counselors, talked to my guidance counselors. Like, I took a semester-long course to help me figure out what career path that I should be on. And I still ended it undecided. It's a funny story, actually. I went to my counselor he was an undecided counselor, so he normally only worked with students for about a semester, maybe 2 semesters. I was undecided until midway through my junior year of college. And so he knew me really well. And I went in one day and I said, Terrence, I am going to do ranch management. And he said, Alyssa, no, you're not. I said, that's what I want to do. He's like, no, it's not. Which I really wanted to do it because the boys were cute and it just seemed like I would get to spend a lot of time outside and not in the classroom, which that was what appealed to me. And I think he knew that, and that's why he told me, no, you're not. You can't graduate on time if you do that. But I'm also a person that likes to explore things and to see for myself and to have the opportunity to walk into that and say, yeah, I want to try it for 6 months and see how I like it. We don't give even college students the chance to do that. We say, hey, welcome to college, choose a major, and this is going to be your life path for the rest of your life. I hope you like it. And if you don't like it, well, most people don't use their majors anyway, so you'll be able to find something else. So my junior year of college, my guidance counselor told me, well, the only way for you to graduate on time is to declare communication studies. I said, okay, let's do that. I loved communication studies. I love that I have that major. It taught me a lot. It taught me a lot that looking back and reflecting on that study and what I learned, helps me in life exponentially. Helps me understand people, helps me understand relationships, family dynamics, nonverbal, verbal cues, all of it. It just helps me understand humans more than I ever could have imagined that I would take away from that. And that's a beautiful thing. I minored with women and gender studies, and at the time my university didn't have that as a major. I think a year or two after that I left, it became a major. And if I could go back, I would want to major in women and gender studies. I think it's fascinating, and now as a human, I want to learn more about it because it's such a prevalent topic in our world right now. And it's human beings. It fucking matters. It's important to understand. I just want people to have a chance to do what they love. To do what they love. I have a good friend here in Colorado who is in a job that they hate. And some days are good, some days are bad. But at the end of the day, they are living with this crippling depression that they have to go to this job every day, where all they want to do is make music and create music. And their music is fucking awesome. And it's not music that I've ever experienced before. It's not a kind of music that I would put on the radio and listen to myself. But listening to what they have created, the lyrics and the emotion and the power that is behind the creation is so fucking cool and beautiful. And more than anything, I want them to be able to have this space to make music and to not have to go and sell life insurance policies. I think that's what they do. I don't know. So yes, Google, I think your answer is correct. Why do I need a career? Well, it provides direction and purpose. I like the idea of that. I just don't think our society is doing that now. I don't think our society is doing that well, and I don't think our society is doing that enough justice. I actually think it forces people into a direction that might not be the direction for them. I'm actually really grateful that I studied communication studies and didn't pinhole myself into another major because it gave me a lot of freedom. When I left college, I worked for a nonprofit that I got that job off of connections. And then I moved into teaching where I got that job off of connections. And then I decided that I was going to open my own business where I opened it through an MLM originally, before I found a travel agency certification program that taught me that I was in an MLM. Interesting piece about me is that I've always wanted something of my own. I've always, more than anything, I think I've wanted something that I could make money quickly and easily. But I think the root of that is that I've wanted something that I could create. Because this is actually, the travel agency MLM I went into was actually the third MLM I've been into in my life. The first one was a line of energy drinks. They sold other things besides just energy drinks, where a few years after I got out of it, I was a teenager. I might have been like 16 when I got involved in this. It was legally declared a pyramid scheme. The next one that I was in, I was selling fingernail polish. Like this stick fingernail polish. And I did that one for a couple of months. Me and a friend did it together, and it was kind of a fun venture for a minute, and then I was like, yeah. And then I went into the travel agency MLM. The part of it that I didn't enjoy was that to be successful in an MLM, you're supposed to bring people in who can sell underneath you so that you can make a portion of their profits and you make something off of them signing up underneath you. Hence where the pyramid comes into play. And I never wanted to do that piece because I thought it was exploiting people. The irony in that, right? So another piece that I Googled where did the idea of a career come from? This is what Google told me. I need to do some more history and research into this, but for podcast purposes today, this is what Google told me. In the 16th century, a courier was a short gallop by a horse or a race course. Later, it meant any continuous course of action or progress. Before, in the 20th century, settling down to mean one's professional life. I like the split definition in there, the idea of a career, of it meant any continuous course of action or progress. Now that should be our fucking careers. Any continuous course of action or progress to something that supports yourself and our society as a whole. People don't have space of the idea of a career, of doing something that is continuous, a continuous course of action and making progress in it, because people don't have time. Because you have to focus on your 9-to-5 career, that you don't have time to create something outside of it. The biggest blessing in the world that I will look back on, I'm sure, in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and just be so grateful for the path that this led me on, was signing up for that MLM travel agency. It opened a space for me to say, I can do something else. I can have something of my own, and I don't have to work for somebody else to do that. So the long story short about that travel agency is I went through that travel agency certification program, got certified as a travel agent, then was miserable and was like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I struggling so hard with this? I would sit down for 6 to 8 hours a day in my house right after we moved to Colorado and would accomplish nothing. I would click around, maybe do a couple of trainings, but essentially accomplish nothing because I didn't like it. But the idea that this travel agency could make me money, the idea that I could travel for free inside of my own company, the idea of what a long-term travel agency could do for me was what I wanted. But the actual day-to-day stuff didn't interest me at all. So I was miserable, absolutely miserable, trying to create this career that I thought would be good for me, something that I thought would bring me joy. So a huge piece of that certification program was mindset. And it was my introduction into mindset. I've been in and out of therapists for years, since I was 16. And I was in therapy when I started the travel agency certification program. But then this mindset piece came in. And it cracked open a window that I didn't know was in my room and let some fresh air in and helped me breathe. And I got drawn in. Yes, that's interesting to me. And so I kind of rode that course. I got really into the mindset piece. And after the program ended and I wasn't able to go to the live calls anymore, and that wasn't as frequent in my life, I went to that expert and who taught inside of that mastermind and got on his email list. I never really read his emails, but one day a nudge told me to, and there was a new program that was for business owners and mindset, and I went to my partner and I said, I know this is expensive, but it feels like it's the next thing for me, and I need it in order to be successful in my travel agency. And because my partner is the most supportive person in the whole wide world, he told me to do what I needed to do, and so I did it. with that program, my mindset expert, my mindset coach gifted me another program that was geared towards helping people learn to love themselves and love their lives. It's called Yes, Love Yourself, Love Your Life. He said, Alyssa, I think you would be a good fit for this business mindset program, but you need a booster because you don't love yourself. You don't like yourself. You can't stand to be around yourself. And you need to do some work around yourself before your business will ever be successful. That program changed my life. Completely changed my world. So I went through this business mindset program, and got to work one-on-one with this coach, which was life-changing, getting to work with a mindset coach, because I've done a lot of the therapy work around my big trauma, capital T, and he helped me change the way that I was seeing and my perspective and the way that my mind works as a whole, which was one of the most beautiful gifts and blessings that I could ever have been given. I came out of that program and gave myself some space, and a month later, I said, wow, I don't think that I want to own a travel agency. I don't know what's next for me, but it's not this. And I started nannying and babysitting and finding more joy in creating my own schedule that way and working with people in my community and meeting and learning new things and being in a totally different world than I had been in than the travel agency ever brought me. And I could feel the lightness coming back to me. I could feel the light inside of me getting brighter and brighter and brighter. A couple months go by, and that mindset expert reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to work for his company. So I've now been working for his company for about a month, and I'm so excited for the growth and to see where this journey inside of his company will lead me and our partnership together. He's one of the most fabulous people I've ever worked for, and there's so much trust and honesty, and I know that he came to me and said, God kept nudging me, and it just feels like the right thing to ask you. And in my head, from the very moment that he entered into my orbit, there was a nudge inside of me said, you're supposed to work with him. I don't know how you're supposed to work with him, but you're meant to work with him. And serendipity is a thing, and everything happens for a reason, and I'm so excited to see where that leads me. Careers. The concept of something that provides direction and purpose. It's beautiful. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. So I kept Googling and Googled, what is the purpose of a career? And this was what Google shared with me. Career purpose is the element of a person's career that brings them personal fulfillment. Careers that have a purpose are positions that allow you to perform work that's meaningful to both yourself and others. Okay, so let's go back to why do I need a career? Because it provides direction and purpose. But the purpose of a career is that the work that you perform is meaningful to both yourself and to others. Can a lot of people say that? Can a lot of people truly identify that their career provides meaning to themselves, but also to other people? That would be a really interesting study to do, to find out how many people actually feel purpose in their career. That is what I want for this world. For people to feel like they have purpose inside of their career. The thing that they love and want to spend time doing and invest in. And what was it? Continuous course of action or progress. 5 or 10 years is going to pass anyway. So you might as well do it in that continuous action to progress. I used to be that kid that was jealous of people that knew what they wanted to do. I would look at my friends who had an answer to that question. What do you want to be when you grow up? And now I want to look at my childhood self and say, Alyssa, the answer to that question is you just want to be yourself. You just want to be you. What do you want to be when you grow up? I just want to be me. Let me be me. I don't want to have to be pushed into a career. I don't want to have all the answers right now. I just want to be me and do the things that I love that bring me joy and that I can provide meaning to myself and to others. Let me be me. Let me grow. Let me develop. And that's what I want for you. I want that so badly for you. I want you to have meaning in your life and what you're doing day in and day out for yourself and also for others. I don't think a career should be our entire world. I think a career should be a piece of our world and should be a piece of something that we love to do and want to share with other people. I don't think it should be the only thing that we have time to do in life. And when we're done doing it, we don't have to be so exhausted that that's the only thing that we want to do after work is to sleep and rest because we don't have the energy to do anything else. I'm going to leave you with this. There is a better way. And I hope and know that we are going to develop a better way. It is going to be a journey with a lot of questions and a lot of answers, but it is going to lead us to that place of having purpose in our careers, a place that is meaningful to both you and to others, that it's serving our community as a whole, and that we get to help aid our future into a better place for not only ourselves, but for the generations after us. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing and a beautiful place to start. Yay! So in the last episode of the Inner Dialogue podcast, I introduced wins and gratitude and moments of growth. At first, I thought it would be good to start with that, but now I realize that I liked it at the end of the podcast instead of at the beginning. It seems like a great way to end. So my wins and gratitude and moments of growth that I wanted to share for today, I am now trying out the Riverside app. I expired my free version on Podcastle. Really liked Podcastle. I'm interested to see how I like Riverside as well. A podcast win. I am grateful for free versions and for trying out new things. Today I had the most wonderful afternoon with a dear cousin of mine, and we had lunch and went to the butterfly pavilion, and it was amazing. The butterfly pavilion was really cool. It had more things than just butterflies. A touch tank, it had information about bees, and I held a tarantula, and the butterfly piece of it was really, really cool. I was a kid that told people that I was afraid of butterflies. And for this piece that I am about to say, for those of you who knew me during that season of my life, you might get a kick out of this, or maybe just be a little offended. I was never afraid of butterflies. There was a moment in my life that came out of my mouth looking for attention, and then it stuck. And it was one of those things that I didn't feel like I could go back on in that moment. But I was never afraid of butterflies. Butterflies are really pretty and very harmless. I got to look at butterflies close up today and watch them flutter around and exist and eat fruit and land on us and just be this beautiful piece of this world that we have. I was never afraid of them, and I'm sorry for the lie that I told around it. Another moment of growth that I experienced this week was realizing how much I love change and I thrive on it. In therapy yesterday, I was talking a lot about this because my love for change and how it pushes me forward and pushes me into more moments of growth and moments of gratitude is not everybody's experience. And one, giving space to people so that they can have their experience when it comes to change, but also allowing myself to say, yeah, I love change. I think change is awesome. I think life is going to force us to change no matter what. And so you either change yourself and you get to make that choice, or life is going to throw change at you and it might not be what you want, which that's going to happen anyway. But when you choose to change yourself, it's a lot of the time more of what you want and less of what life is forcing you to do. And the last thing I have on my list for today is I am grateful to have amazing families that I work for. And this past week, after coming back from being on vacation for a week, I am learning how much time I need for myself and to refresh. These last couple of days, I've been really, really busy. And at the end of last night, as I'm babysitting and it's 10:30 at night and I'm sitting on the couch, just drained, realizing, Alyssa, you need more for you. And just saying that and giving my space to feel that gave me a little bit of that space back. And I am learning how to manage my busy work schedule with also the time that I need for myself. And that's a beautiful thing. Admitting it, asking questions to it, and knowing that it's okay to be where I'm at. It's all about listening to the inner dialogue inside of us. I hope today you were able to reflect somewhat on why careers, and it put you into a space of thinking and pondering on what your career is like. And does it bring you joy? Does it bring meaning to both yourself and to others? Is that something that you can look for in another place? Use your inner dialogue and find out the answers to those questions. I love you so much. Your light shines so brightly. You have so much purpose and reason in this world, and I am excited to share this space with you. Till next time on the Inner Dialogue podcast. Bye.